every step I took, every accomplishment I made along the way, it felt empty inside. Don't get stuck in attachment to this group identity of what people your age, your ethnicity, your gender, your education background, your socioeconomic status. Be someone people can lean their shoulder on, and you will be rewarded.
If she doesn't have the looks, she might not have the brains.
Drop her. All right, welcome back. What are we gonna talk about?
Hey man, we could talk about women.
Sure.
Nah, man, let's not. I mean, I don't want to get. I don't want to sleep on the couch, man. I think what's interesting is, in our video we have this theme of, what we'll tell our younger selves. It's kind of like a retrospective kind of thing, and I think it's fair for me to say none of us are.
One of the things, I mean, pussy is overrated. And I'm not saying that because I'm resentful or like have some grudge towards women, but it's just like, it's like after you nut after watching a porno, it's like okay, I just nutted, like
I just busted a nut.
But like that's part of our sex drive, right? It's like it's programmed into us, which is why like we're basically all I'm trying to say is don't be unconsciously driven by your sex drive. A lot of men are driven by their dicks and like that.
Exactly. And I think on top of that, the amount of sex you have doesn't determine how, or it shouldn't determine who you are. You shouldn't let that be a defining quality of yourself.
Well, you should definitely have a healthy sex life, but like
a balance is key in my opinion.
Like don't go out here chasing women and stuff, because that's low value stuff, right?
Yeah.
You gotta build yourself up. You gotta, if you have confidence in yourself, you don't need to go out seeking validation. No matter whether it's from, jobs, from women, from anything for that matter.
Exactly, yeah.
And then that's when women start flocking to you, is when you do not really care for them.
That's, not in a disrespectful way.
Yeah, not in a disrespectful way, by all means. Like, you don't care for them in the sense that you don't chase them, but then they can tell you're so, like, centered on and grounded in your own purpose and your own, your own sense of meaning in your life, that you're just magnetic to them because it's like you don't have to try, and yet you can still interact with them in a very like charismatic way just by being yourself.
Exactly. Sometimes things happen naturally.
Yeah.
Right? You can't force things, especially when it's premature.
Yeah.
No puns intended.
Yeah, typically, I don't know, so far with my experience with, the most absurd blessings in life, including women, it's when you least expect it that it like happens.
Yeah, I mean, with me, I'll be honest with you, I think high school made me really shy around girls.
Yeah, I was too. I was so awkward. I have things I don't even want to say. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, anyways, I met my girlfriend back in high school, but we only started dating about like 5 years after high school. The point being that, a lot of us, when we were younger, we don't know what a normal relationship is like. I would say over 80% of the relationship that I know of back in high school literally collapsed because of the change in environment. So much so that I think a younger generation of kids these days don't actually know what a proper relationship is like. They want certain things that are trendy, certain things that are cool.
Yeah.
But I think, if your parents aren't divorced and are in a happy marriage, just maybe use that as a baseline as to what marriage and relationship should be in a healthy way. It doesn't have to be filled with excitement.
Right. And then the stuff that might not be so good, then you can take it from, somewhere else that might be better than your baseline, what you have, what you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of that, like, all throughout high school, just seeing, like, kids around you kind of, like, they hit puberty, their sexuality and all that.
Their sex drive goes up.
Yeah. And it's like, I had no interaction with girls. And it's just, like, makes you envious of the kids who do at that time. But then, it's easy to get pulled into that. But like the best thing you can do for yourself, and I'm speaking from personal experience because I wouldn't be in the relationship that I'm in today if I did not develop myself in the time frame that I could have been spending, you know, kind of like jumping around and around with different people.
Yeah.
Like it's like when you're young, like your time is best spent developing yourself.
Exactly.
So, like,
yeah.
developing like your ability, you know, developing your time spent in your passions, you know, your sense of like basically it's your own self-development, right? Whether that's developing your body, going to the gym, or like, you know, learning psychology, like learning, becoming self-aware and like catching your own behaviors and like questioning society and questioning reality, and then like, you know, choosing the things that, you know, are like questioning everything and then only picking up the things that are good for you, and then catching all the things that, you know, that people subconsciously follow without knowing.
Exactly,
It's like not following the herd, right? That's the root of critical thinking. And so like I really do think I was a virgin until 21, but like I do not regret being socially awkward and all of that stuff, because it allowed me to develop myself. And then like it just happened like that. Like I'm not even kidding. Like for me, it just happened from virgin into like a spectacular relationship that I never could have imagined. Develop yourself, man. Like most people in their 20s, a lot of people even in their 30s even aren't ready for a relationship. Like you see it, like you hear stories around you of like people in their relationships, like he did this, she did that, and then talk about behind their back, and then blah blah blah. Right? It's like if you know, if you don't have self-love, and if you don't have, you know, if you are not developed in yourself, just trying to merge that with another person is going to cause disaster.
Yeah, especially if you're unaware of who you want to be. You know, you haven't figured out a direction in life. You know, I'm not saying you need to be in a, you know, you don't need to be like a dude that's making six figures or have your life figured out to be in a relationship. I'm not saying that's a requirement. I think that's something good to have. But
right, if you think you need to be that in order to be one, that's also a problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think a big part is if you're unaware of who you want to be and you're in a relationship, listen, the practical side of a relationship is you and your partner are trying to work together to build something, right? You're trying to build a future together. That's the ultimate, like, end goal of, like, a normal relationship. Now, if you're unaware of who you want to become and what you want to do in life, you know, that, and you're in a relationship where you're not too sure where it's going, I'm not saying it won't work out. I think it's going to cost you a lot of stress, because I've been there, and the amount of restless sleep I had was very, very not good. You know, a lot of times you get a lot of these tendency to lash out, and that will hurt your partner. And, you know, I'm grateful to have a partner that's very patient with me. You know, dare I say, I've been raised as a single child, the little emperor, and, you know, I have a lot of bad habits, and I'm happy to have a, you know, partner that's patient with me. You know, the issue with today, I think, it's so easy to date that, like, people don't really invest too much time into, like, getting to really...
You never want to be in a position where you're dating around just to avoid being alone.
Yeah, dude, that is terrible. It is...
It's so, like, so many young people do that, and it's just like, what are you doing?
I agree, man.
Find contentment in your own life, in yourself,
exactly.
And someone who aligns with that will come, right?
Yeah, you know, I think a big part in this is we're not discouraging you to not get a girlfriend, especially if you're in high school, or especially that, you know, like I mentioned, you don't know what you want to do in life, that kind of thing. I think what we're trying to say is try to prioritize yourself, make yourself better in a healthy way. And, you know, this isn't some gimmick where, you know, like, it's like MMO, you finish a quest, you get all sorts of bitches and shit. But it's just that, you know, people are sentient. When they see that you're someone that works hard, you have a goal, you're working towards it, people naturally find respect in that. That's a rare quality. You line up 100 people, you might only get a few people that are hardworking, right? And people will see that. Everyone wants like a man or a woman that's making six figures. I'll be honest with you. You work hard, you work towards your goal. I genuinely think it's not that difficult to achieve six figure. It's just a matter of time. If your significant other or people you're pursuing looks down on the fact that you're working hard towards your own goal and they don't appreciate that you don't have it already. Listen, man, 25-year-olds, I tell you what, all right, between all of our friends, we don't know anyone that made it on their own that has $100K a year income. The only guy we heard of, it's his dad's money, and he gambled it away. So, people, you got to anchor yourself on reality and work towards yourself. Benefit yourself.
Well, the key thing is no one ever makes it on their own. And what I mean by that is you cannot... Anyone who is successful because someone, or rather a lot of people, helped in one way, shape, or form them to get there. Whether that's, making a connection at a workplace who then refers you into a higher position, or having a friend who, right? There's people all around you who are there to help you. And so this is the critical thing, and this is linking back to developing yourself, right? Because if you are not developed, you will not develop these kind of relationships with people where they then trust you, where they then, refer you, or they then recommend you, or they then help you or mentor you in some ways because they see potential in you, right? If you do not show that you're worthy of that, then you will not form these kind of life-changing relationships with people. And these kind of relationships will come from the most unexpected places. They kind of just emerge, and then they develop, and they because of your development, it opens up opportunities to find these kind of people who will be there to help you progress in life. Because no one ever makes it alone, right? It's always through like Warren Buffett, right? I forgot the guy who mentored him, but like all of these people, like they were mentored by someone, right? There were people that helped them to get to the place they were, and then their own name became known, right? But ultimately, like no one ever makes it alone, right? It's a social world, we're not in this world in isolation, right? And so
I tell you what, man, to interject, having a significant other that genuinely cares about your success and that, that helps you along the way in any form possible. Listen, if she doesn't have the looks, she might not have the brains.
Drop her.
No, I'm telling you, man, anyone that helps you along the way, that asks nothing in return by your happiness, keep her, man. That's a keeper. And I'm blessed to have people like that around me. I know a couple of guys who either parted ways with their significant other because they had their own focus on their own jobs and career, or the other way around, their girlfriend left them because she just didn't want to move back to Vancouver and get a lower paying job. Listen, I don't know the details, but that kind of thing happens, right? People are out here just focusing on their own.
Be someone people can lean their shoulder on, and you will be rewarded. Like, that's a fact. And women are attracted to guys who can be leaders, right? Leaders are just people who people can lean their shoulder on and rely on, right? And if you demonstrate that, it doesn't have to be through, a leadership position at a job.
Exactly, yeah.
That's it comes in through your character, like how you conduct yourself in the way you live life, right?
On the subject of leadership, I think for a lot of us, we're not going to lead armies or whatever, but I think the quality of leadership is not to have like, you're gaining leadership skill, a mindset, not because you have to lead people, right? But it's for discipline, I think. I think it's a really good quality to have leadership material within you,
I would say it's not even necessarily discipline per se, but it's just you naturally become leader-like when you develop confidence in yourself, and and like stop looking to other people to validate you. Instead, you realize you are responsible for your own life, for your own happiness, for your own freedom, for your own choices, for your own everything, essentially, right? And once you adopt that kind of responsibility, then it's just like the leadership qualities and all that, it just becomes a natural byproduct, and people start flocking to you because they see that you can help them, and they reward you like
give them an experience, man.
Okay,
you're in the fitness industry, yeah.
For me,
tell
right?
them about it.
And that's basically my whole story. I spent years developing myself when all my peers around me were, focused on studying, getting good grades, partying, all of that, the conventional stuff, right? I'm talking about, this is high school to university. So I spent years, because I was just obsessed with this question of how do I live a maximally fulfilling life, right? And all the answers that society provided me, just it never fulfilled me, right? Society told me to go to university, get a nice degree, and then go find some high-paying job and all that. But it's every step I took, every accomplishment I made along the way, it felt empty inside. And so I looked to self-improvement, right? And during this time, I was training. Training was just a hobby of mine, physical training, lifting. But over the years, through my own self-development and through my own learning through my training, I eventually became a personal trainer. And I started teaching people how to exercise. And I realized I would start incorporating my philosophies, the philosophy that I learned, and the different, the spiritual elements into teaching exercise. And I realized through interacting with people, I developed a lot of relationships with clients, and I realized that your network, your relationships are a huge part of what determines your trajectory.
Exactly.
And just to be in that position where people started trusting me, being in a position where you can get people to trust you and to like you and to enjoy working with you, right? That's leadership. And if it wasn't for me spending so many years following my own hobby of lifting and self-development, I would never have be in the position I am in today. And that position is I'm working around 10 hours a week right now, and I'm making the amount of money I would be making at a full-time job if I was working at some entry to mid-level position, which is, I'm not on the top of the world, but I'm in this short amount of time, and the fact that I've made it here is I'm very grateful for it. And I don't think I would be here today if I had never spent the years that people would spend chasing relationships and, chasing parties and doing all the stuff that you're expected of for your age.
Yeah.
Instead, I spent it, obsessed with, philosophy, spiritual, all of that. And this is the result. It's I didn't see results for a long time. I didn't see any tangible results, but then, it's
it overlaps, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's not by accident that these things eventually happen the way they were, and it was completely unexpected to me. I didn't expect right after graduation to be in the position that I'm in right now.
Yeah, life's full of surprises, man.
Yeah.
You gotta surround yourself
and so just watch the paradigm that you find yourself stuck in. Don't be stuck in this paradigm of I'm 19, so I have to do what 19-year-olds do.
Yeah.
It's don't get stuck in attachment to this identity, this group identity of what people, your age, your ethnicity, your gender, your education background, your socioeconomic status. Don't get attached to these identities. Don't let them define you, because if you let them define you, then you're going to stay that way. You have to step out of those identities and see that you're beyond them.
I think on the subject of relationship, I think it's really nice to surround yourself with other people that also are positive to have around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, right? As you develop yourself, you naturally just drop away the negative people around you, because...
Or you should, right?
Well, you should, right? But then I'm arguing that it naturally happens as you develop yourself, because you just stop vibing with them. there's just something about their energy that's just like, it's like, oh, like doesn't feel good to be around. And you don't have to be like super like toxic about it, but it's just something that naturally happens. People drift away.
You know, I think one thing that's also very important to understand is, especially like our age, 20, 21, 25, or not, you're not 21, but you get my point. You're going to start to get to the point where a lot of very long friendships that for a long time, and you'll start to see some of those friendships starts to drift away.
Yeah.
And, a lot of it is just you guys have different focus,
Yeah. For me and for you probably.
Yeah, I think for all of us.
Like high school, you hung around the group.
Yeah.
And then you just drift away because your life just takes different trajectories, and you become different people and want different things out of life, and you just like that's part of life, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think one thing we should have is, I think the takeaway from this is we should really give a thank to those people that's been with us along the way and that made us positive for who we are. You know what I mean? Like people that has helped us along the way and kept us on the right trajectory.
Right. And that's something to notice, is that you have mentors all around you. Like the person that gets mad at you in traffic, or like someone that cuts you off in line, they're your mentors, right?
Yeah, I think
because they teach you something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They created the opportunity for you to learn.
Exactly. They create the opportunity for you to recognize where misery gets to you, and then if you can become aware of that, you can no longer let that get to you. And it's like the negative people are as much teachers as the positive people, because they're telling you something, and you just have to decipher the message without being bitter or resentful about it. Right? Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think we touched down on some good grounds.
Yeah,
I think if I say anything more, it'd be a little redundant.
We went all over the place on this one.
No, that's good though.
Yeah, we'll see how the edit.
But that's life sometimes. It takes you places.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well.
All right.
Hope you enjoyed this discussion.
Yeah. We hope you figure out what you like and what you will want in life.
Yeah.
Like I always say, when we think, this is what I want in life, people always associate it with a job. It's not all true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Figure out what you appreciate in life.
Yeah.
What makes you happy, and don't say drugs and alcohol, because we don't appreciate that.
And a lot of the times it's right under your feet. You just don't think that it can be a tangible, it's not, income realistic, or like a realistic job, right? And a lot of times it's your passions that if you just keep following, even if it's just on your own time, it sprouts into something that beyond what you can conceive of. So, follow your heart.
Follow your heart. We're going to go hiking next time, and we're going to shoot some footage of us on the hike, show you around the place, some nice footage of British Columbia. I think in this day and age, everyone stays home and go on their phone all the time, man. It's important to go out, enjoy the nature. That's something unique. All right.
Pop a thumbs up.
See you around.
I'll see you around.
What's up?